Israel's finest.
Now, speaking of trying to ruin people's lives, Peanut was not his first target. He used to do this to everybody. If you watch the series, Ethan was one of his biggest targets. And these slanders actually affect him a lot. He posted this. Somebody posted in H3H3 production subreddit. This is a serious message for Ethan Klein. Please look into hiring outside help because Hassan, or the Snark's propaganda machine, has become too powerful. The lies and misinformation needs to be stopped. With love, we are tired, boss. And they're basically saying that they're tired of the slander they're seeing on Reddit and from Hassan's fan base and community. So H3 responds saying Tom went to all the top PR firms a month or two ago and they all rejected us. I'm literally more canceled than rapists and murderers. I'm genuinely close to giving up. Right, so basically it seems that Ethan can't seem to even hire a PR firm to attempt to fix his reputation from all the slander Hassan and the Orbiters have caused him. People responded, PR firms can't do anything. The majority of public opinion is on Ethan's side. I tend to agree here. I feel like, you know, while PR firms might be helpful in getting sort of mainstream articles written about you to, you know, clarify some of the misinformation, I feel like the people who have made their minds up, which is Hassan, his Orbiters, and his fan bases, they will never change their minds about you, okay? And the people who know that Ethan is not actually a Israel dick rider or like a genocide supporter or something like that, they pretty much already know the true story of the situation. I feel like he might have made that because of maybe a personal situation in his life. Maybe somebody close to him sort of fell for the misinformation that Hassan was peddling, because that seems like he's genuinely just sort of like done with the whole thing. Like, oh my god, I can't believe this. We got Marxist Jaegerists responding, Lamau, PR company can't do shit if you don't shut the F up and stop saying stupid shit in public. Probably couldn't afford to pay them enough money to actually do the job either. Well, I don't think Ethan is exactly stingy. Also, no one wants to work with a litigious person. Once you're known for filing lawsuits, everyone will stay the F away. Well, you would probably look into what the lawsuit was filed for. Like, I don't think anybody's gonna not work with him because he filed copyright lawsuits. I think Ethan underestimated how fast goodwill depreciates online. You can be right and still lose leverage. Yeah, it's basically what sort of narrative gets repeated over and over, and that just sort of becomes the truth. Honestly, I hope he wins the lawsuit against those Reddits, especially with the amount of evidence against them being responsible for the false CPS call. I don't think he can pin it down on a single person, but maybe with the subpoenas, because whatever high ground they think they've lost is gone when you go after someone's kids. People are posting the Jordan Peterson quote of "You'll be held to higher standards by the woke mob" or whatever, and this is because he previously used to have a podcast with Hassan, and that's sort of completely dissolved now. Hassan's reputation is worse. I will say, between Ethan and Hassan, I think it's pretty obvious Hassan is a worse reputation. So if Ethan can't get PR firms, I don't think Hassan would be able to either, except he probably already has some lunatics who support his politics, so they don't really care about your PR, right? But anyways, Hassan responds to Ethan's story about potentially giving up due to PR firms rejecting him. So we got the Hassan Glazer account disinformation tracker, more like misinformation spreader. Ethan speaks the truth. His actions have permanently destroyed his reputation. It is beyond repair. That is why I stopped covering him. He's irrelevant. But posts like these will still go on my heart. Okay, this is complete delusion. If you just go to Ethan's YouTube channel, you can see that he's still very relevant, and his stream is also absolutely massive. Someone Hassan quote tweets and said, "Dude spent the last 2+ years calling every pro-Palestinian content creator anti-Semitic terrorists, trying to get us deplatformed, harassed us with a legion of pedo right-wing allies, launched BS lawsuits against 3 smaller creators," and he's obviously talking about Casey Dams and Froggen, to bully and silence them while losing 60% of his audience. Drop the lawsuits. Focus on healing what's rotting inside of you. There's no way, bro. There's no way Hassan is trying to act like the good guy. Like, oh, I'm trying to heal Ethan's heart, you know? You know, he's so filled with vitriol and anger. Hassan, the nicest guy on the planet, I'm trying to heal his heart. Yeah, sure, man, we're totally buying that. Also, dude, he keeps misframing this every time, calling every pro-Palestinian content creator anti-Semitic terrorist. No, that's not what's happening, bro. They're calling you anti-Semitic because you literally are anti-Semitic with all of your statements, and they're calling you a terrorist supporter because you literally openly support terrorists. Okay, those are accurate statements. Nobody's going after pro-Palestinian content creators or anything like that. It is specifically because of your actions that are unrelated to that. People responded, Hassan is gone after every Jewish creator for the past few years. I mean, people are just playing ball. Like, if you're gonna say that, they're just gonna respond with that. Hassan platforms literal terrorist and shocks his dog for moving. I doubt he could get a PR firm either. Well, I will concede that Hassan does get a lot of good PR, essentially by these hack journalists who have the same sort of radical politics as him, or are essentially like these extremely old, weird gooners or whatever, like Kayla Lorenz or Jennifer Welch or all these other sort of people in the media writing about the sweat beating off his chest hairs and stuff. Like, Ethan is obviously not getting those articles because honestly, you don't really fucking want those, do you? They're clearly just puff pieces, right? Wow, it's crazy that Hassan, the guy who calls everyone Nazis and incels and Israel dick riders, is talking about someone else throwing names around. The biggest irony is him mentioning bullying and silencing other creators, as that is exactly what Hassan and his fandom just did to Emiru. Exactly, they bully people all the time. Associating with Hassan's death sentence, that's where it all went wrong. Well, to be fair, he's been trying his best to sort of, you know, distance himself from them and actually sort of redeem that mistake he did. But my god, I feel like some mistakes just sort of haunt you forever, right? But of course, Ethan doesn't deserve this. Like, nobody deserves to have their reputation completely ruined based on some fabricated lies by Hassan and the Orbiters. Animal abuser detected. Public opinion rejected. Holy, taking lessons from Palpatine. Hassan just sent Frogan $500 for a cast. Big dog, your pals are struggling. Oh my god, if you missed that episode, you gotta watch that, bro. Frogan begging for money for the 500 time. Right, so turns out Hassan actually responded on stream in this massive rant about Ethan, saying that he essentially deserves it, and then he brings up the lawsuits against the Orbiters and a lot more.
I am literally more canceled than completely close to giving up. I don't know if this is real or not because it sounds pretty crazy. I feel like the whole purpose of Crisis PR is to literally rehabilitate the image, rehabilitate the imagery of what do you call it? Like some of the worst of the worst. Like, I mean, these guys get, like, they work with Kevin Spacey, right? I mean, they've worked with Jeffrey. It's crazy. You probably just didn't want to pay the price or something. I don't know. The reason he went to these firms is because his subreddit keeps telling him you have this massive PR firm that's giving you all these interviews and articles. Yeah, he does not understand that, like, I don't think he understands that I do not have a PR firm. I have never hired a PR firm. I don't have a PR firm. These are journalists independently reaching out. These are journalists independently reaching out to do interviews or to ask me what my take is on, like, coverage. And in spite of all of the negative, like, insane negative YouTube videos out there, framed around, like, how I'm the biggest villain that American society has ever encountered.
Okay, listen, I don't think Hassan is like the biggest villain or anything. I think he's a villain. You know, I mean, supporting terrorists, shocking your dog, making fun of a guy about to neck himself. Literally just saying that you want to make fun of him more now that he's actually considering that. That is some psychotic fucking textbook villain shit.
Brother, I'm gonna make fun of him a lot more, even after he openly reveals that he almost committed right here, okay?
And I don't know who he's referring to, but, you know, another lefty streamer, Hodge, basically said that the best thing you can do for America is to call out Hassan, which I found funny because apparently he does have a lot of influence in some realms of politics, right? But yeah, I'm not going to pretend I know what Hassan is doing behind the scenes, right? Is he actually paying people to write his articles? Is this somehow related to that Knight Media company or something that's managing him, whatever? Or are these articles all organic and everybody just loves his chest hairs and just happens to ignore him shocking his dog and sort of covering for that story? I mean, I wouldn't really doubt it because when you have people like Kayla Lorenz running around who would gladly jump into a volcano if Hassan looked in her direction for 0.5 seconds, then it is believable. Now, I'm not sure what Ethan's goal is with the PR firm because maybe he's trying to get some like mainstream articles to vindicate his name or something like that, or maybe he had a personal like family interaction that went sour because of Hassan. I don't know, I'm just sort of guessing here. Maybe he was fucking trolling with the whole thing, who knows? But if I had to guess his general sentiment, obviously he's bothered by Hassan constantly slandering him, right? So naturally, Hassan doubles down, calling Ethan pro-Israel again. And I think at this point, everybody knows he's just lying because he does this to everyone, right? Calling Burnt Peanut a streamer who was made in an Israeli laboratory or something. It just doesn't make any sense anymore. It's like he just does it to everyone.
People are adults. They have the capacity to see right from wrong. And as long as you just keep, as long as you keep to your message, as long as you keep to your commitments, like people will eventually realize that maybe some of the disparaging remarks that are coming from right-wingers and all these other people is just bullshit. And that's why I always say, like, there's not really anything you can do other than be consistent and be as charitable as you possibly can be, and just keep pushing through it, no matter what people throw your way. And it's like very strange. Weird how anyone goes against Hassan ends up being libeled and slandered and oblivion by Hassan, his orbiters, and his army of simps. Weird how people who obsessively attack the famous Hassan end up crying and blaming him, and the general public criticizes them for their own words and actions. Click this link, scroll down, and read the thread. This is why people hate Ethan. I mean, I'm not gonna dive too much into it. Like, I think everyone at this point knows what Ethan Klein is about, and the only reason why everyone knows what Ethan Klein is about is because of Ethan Klein's own, like, steadfast advocacy, sometimes directly being pro-Israel and other times, or most of the time, attacking Israel critics.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this not like the ultimate loophole, like the ultimate shield, where he just calls himself an Israel critic, right? And therefore, if you ever criticize Hassan about anything, well, now you're attacking Israel's critics because he's an Israel critic, right? What an absolutely foolproof plan, right? So Hassan can sit there, literally abuse animals on stream, and do all this heinous shit, you know, threatening to murder people. But if you ever criticize him, well, no, he said Israel bad one time, guys. So by that logic, he's allowed to do anything, right? Tomorrow, Hassan could go and touch kids if he wants, and don't you dare put him in prison, because then you're putting Israel's critics in prison. I don't make the rules, guys. Hassan just did. I honestly don't know who uses Palestinians as a shield more, whether it be Hamas or Hassan, because at this point it's debate. It really is. So then he says that Ethan ruined his career because he's allied with the right-wingers, of course. Ethan, the most right-wing guy ever, guys.
And that's it. He has created this weird orbit of right-wingers because he's decided that, you know, people like myself, people who are anti-Zionist, are his number one ops. Of course, people are eventually going to learn that lesson, right? And he's destroyed his own career in the process, and it's so crazy because, like, I explained this to him literally 2.5 years ago at this point. Yo, keep the burnt peanuts name out your mouth, stay in your lane, boy. okay, buddy, because he knows that his audience is comprised almost entirely of people who want anti-Hassan content, and that happens to be Destiny's community. He doesn't attack Asmongold because he's worried about losing his remaining fandom that is, again, pro Asmongold, pro Destiny.
Right. I mean, first off, this is obviously cope. I mean, Ethan's career is going pretty well from what I see. Like, his streams still have a lot of viewers despite him taking a bunch of breaks all the time and managing his family as well. Again, I don't know what that post was about. Maybe it's something sort of building up, something emotional that happened to him involving somebody close to him. That's just my guess. But Ethan is most definitely not aligned with right-wingers, dude. He absolutely disagrees with the right, and he routinely criticizes them like any other liberal, right? So it's just crazy to say that, oh, he's so supportive of Asmongold and Destiny and all that. Like, you're so delusional, man. The only thing all these people have in common is that they hate you, Hassan. Most of the world just hates Hassan because he just has insane opinions, right? The second he leaves his sort of echo chamber, there's not many people that actually support him, right? The only places he can rely on are like extremely radical, far lefty colleges, or the mutated maggot-brained rats in the sewers of New York City, of course. By the way, no offense to anybody living in New York, I just love saying the rats in New York City. It's just funny because I keep imagining that one meme of that humanoid like rat in the subway, and I just find it funny. I think New York is pretty cool, actually. Then he says that Ethan is becoming a lol cow. You know, just pure projection here.
You will become a vehicle of hatred. You will become you will lol cow yourself pretty much. Because, like it or not, a lot of the people who oppose my worldview, a lot of the people who oppose me, end up doing a lot of shit. So you're aligning with a lot of horrible people. And sometimes that might feel welcoming, sometimes that might feel comforting, because who doesn't want affirmation, right? Everybody wants that. Everyone wants a sense of community. Everyone wants to feel loved, and everyone wants to find agreement, right? But before you realize it, you have surrounded yourself with not like-minded individuals, not kind individuals, but instead psychos, like absolute psychopaths.
I mean, it really is crazy how many times he unknowingly like describes himself. Hassan, you are the psychopath, man. I mean, you literally derive joy of a guy saying he wants to end his own life. Like, I don't think it gets more psychopathic than that. It's an absolutely insane thing to say. Not something someone moral would ever admit to at all, right? Anyone who claims to be good cannot be talking like that. And it's just funny, he talks about aligning with horrible people. I mean, first off, you're pretty horrible yourself, advocating murder. But then you also align with people who put bounties on people's heads, like Denims and Mike from PA. You align with people like Froggen and hire her as well when she wishes veterans get PTSD and don't get health insurance. You align with people you admit are psychopaths, like Banner Banata, whatever, who doxes people and is fleeing from country to country to avoid like the law. Basically, you align with anybody who sort of helps you in this crusade to, you know, push your propaganda, right? So then he talks about this random tweet that somebody made like a long time back, and he essentially uses it to criticize Ethan.
Like, this guy seemingly understood that Ethan Klein is a part of this brigade of right-wing chuds who are basically a blight on not only the gaming community, but the culture commentary community in general. Why is Ethan Klein in this photo? Surrounded by all these other fucking lolicon enjoyers and whatnot, because that's his output. That's what he is. That's who he has surrounded himself with. A bunch of like 40-plus-year-olds